This here is a remarkable,
Welcome to the Wedding of Distinction podcast, a program for the unique bride and groom. The Wedding of Distinction is a concept where brides and grooms want something better. Not just your average wedding. We have the tools to make that happen. Now, here's your host, Mike Fernino.
And welcome to the program. I'm Mike, and this is my little podcast home created just for couples like you, planning a wedding. And on this program, we discuss weddings, and more weddings. I got a question for you. What is the most important element for a celebration on a wedding day? What's the most important element? Think about it now. Some would probably say it's the food, but I would argue that being about emotion, nothing stirs your wedding day, and nothing stirs the soul greater than music. And music, it creates the mood and sets the table for the food and the celebration that will happen throughout the day. But without music, to me, your wedding day is simply a canvas devoid of color. I grew up in a music household. My father was a professor, and he had his own music school. So I was always surrounded by beautiful music. It inspired me. It made me who I am today. I can tell you one of the nicest ways to enhance your wedding ceremony is to hire live musicians. It's not just enough to hear the music. It's an extra special touch to watch gifted musicians creating the music right in front of your eyes, and your ears for that matter. Today on the program, I speak with Barbara from Continuo Music as part of my series recorded live from Lakota Oaks. Barbara was kind enough to sit down at my podcast desk with me and offer up some information about their very extensive music options, including jazz musicians, chamber, soloists, and even vocalists, especially for wedding ceremonies and receptions. So let the music play. Today on the Wedding of Distinction podcast. Well, hi, everybody. It's Mike Fernino. I'm live at Lakota Oaks. And tonight we are here with a wedding professional vendor gathering. And so I've been lucky enough to actually get a table here for the podcast, and we are meeting with professionals and talking with them and schmoozing a little bit about the industry. And I have grabbed Barbara Wyton. Barbara is from Continuo Music LLC. And Barbara, hey, welcome to the Wedding of Distinction. How are you?
Thanks, I'm good.
I want to thank you for joining me. Now, I'm going to let you explain what you do, but I will kind of set the table by saying that you don't offer full wedding bands, but you offer all of the musicians and all of the accompaniment for a wedding just to really add that extra touch of live music spice to it. So why don't you talk about what you do and all the different offerings you have?
Well, a lot of times brides and grooms and people that are having parties and events need advice on what would be the best music. And I am a music consultant, and I can help them pin down the best instrumentation for their event. For instance, I do a lot of wedding ceremonies, and I do cocktail hours and receptions for weddings. And if there's a theme to an event, I can find the right musicians. I basically give people advice about the music, and I have a large network of people, some of the best musicians in New York as well as Connecticut that I've worked with for a long time. And some of our highlights are string players, jazz players, soloists, duos, trios, quartets. And I'm a flutist, so since I'm a musician, I know a lot about what I'm talking about.
Yeah, now, brides and grooms, if they want to add a little extra touch of live music, for ceremonies, what do you recommend normally for ceremonies?
Well, for ceremony, we play prelude music, which is usually 20 or 30 minutes before it starts. Then I could help them pick up processional and a recessional or any music that they want during the ceremony. We play typically, strings or soloists, keyboard players, most anything. But probably your best bet is to pin down your vibe or any specific music that you want, and then I can best advise from there.
And how about cocktail hour? I mean, obviously, we're live here, so it has that kind of flair to it, but this type of music is very popular, right? What are your clients booking for their cocktail hours, social hour?
Well, sometimes they bring the same people from the ceremony into the cocktail hour, But other times they want to change a pace. And depending on how many guests you have, sometimes during the cocktail hour, we use keyboard with, say, a jazz trio or duo. It depends on the venue and the number of people and the vibe.
And also, as a professional wedding DJ myself, I've been noticing the incorporation of the combo where the DJ is working with, let's say, a saxophonist.
Yes.
Are you seeing that too, Barbara?
Yes, we have a sax player that sometimes joins forces with the DJ. But more often, people are amplifying string players or keyboard player to bring up the ambiance of the venue.
Do you ever get a request for, let's say, a small group to play for the entire dinner time of a wedding?
Yes. Sometimes we have like a sax, piano, bass, and drums quartet, but sometimes the ceremony just starts with the keyboard player, and then we add on as we get into the after the ceremony time. And
you also represent vocalists, correct?
Yes, a lot of times if it's at a church or if it's with the jazz quartet, we have vocalists. Sometimes we're at a church like a mass and we have a vocalist with the organist or the trio with a quartet.
And how much lead time do you normally recommend that a bride and groom reach out to book these extra services? Maybe they're looking at it as an extra and not the main thing?
Yes, I'm usually the last person to be called.
Yeah?
Some people call me a couple years in advance and other people call me a month in advance. And I have a large network of people, so I usually can fill the bill unless it's a real popular wedding weekend. So anytime. But a lot of people are calling me now for next year.
And that's a good thing. And what are you seeing as far as their requests? I know that, I'm sure you know of the Vitamin String Quartet.
Yes.
And that group where they're taking contemporary songs and they're transposing them classically.
Right.
What are you seeing as far as your customers, as far as what they're requesting?
A variety of things, but a lot of Taylor Swift.
Oh my God.
And a lot of Bridgerton. It's Bridgerton all the time. And our string quartet, in fact, has a large repertoire of music that's a lot of pop and jazz. And a lot of times people say, just play a mix of music. But we now amplify, our string players.
Right.
And we have to use amplification a lot.
I think that's a very good idea because a lot of times when I'm doing sound for a wedding, I always put microphones on the musicians because especially if the bride's coming from a long way down, she's not going to hear the strings until she's almost right on top.
One of the most popular combinations now to keep the cost down is violin and keyboard. And the violinist amplifies, and of course the keyboard is amplified, and that's really a good combination.
No doubt about that. So how can the listeners of my program get in contact with you, Barbara, to give all that good stuff?
Well, my website's pretty good, and my Instagram. I have a lot of videos on my Instagram, and on my website there's a whole list of tunes and audio examples.
Okay, give that website. And
it's Continuo Music, CONTINUO Music. You just Google that.
Okay, there you go. You heard it right from Barbara. Barbara from Continuo Music, thank you so much for a few minutes here.
Thank you.
I appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
The Wedding of Distinction, live from Lakota Oaks, is brought to you by Lakota Oaks, Norwalk, Connecticut's premier conference center and wedding venue. And also Clear Vision Productions, featuring Wedding Styles of Connecticut. Find out about 3 great upcoming bridal shows being produced in January, February, and March of 2025 by going to weddingstylesofct.com.
The Wedding of Distinction podcast is a production of Music in Motion Entertainment. All rights reserved. Any unauthorized publication of this program is strictly prohibited. For the Wedding of Distinction podcast, I'm Mike Vincent. Happy wedding planning, everybody.